Hey guys, welcome back to Around the World with Smiley. Anyway, today's podcast episode is my first ever episode, but before I get started, make sure you follow this podcast on Google Podcasts, and it's also on Amazon Music, so make sure you follow that. And then this podcast is all about Baycliff Health Camp. Miss Eva Morse found Baycliff, and she found it and started with her husband, and then started it, and then created Baycliff Health Camp. So that's your fun fact to start off this podcast. Now, let's get in it. So the first topic I'm going to talk about is the Hogs. The Hogs is a motorcycle group. They are for many, they're big donors to Baycliff Health Camp. And by donors, I mean they donate like $1 million plus to it. And then there's 150 campers that go and sit down for their noon meal. And they also practice with their plates and bowls. Now, and then they have a football team called the UP All-Stars, and we do get a lot of visitors to camp as well. So we do get a lot of visitors to camp as well as a lot of people. Anyway, so, and then let's get on to the bakery stuff. So, you cannot have your phone for 7 weeks. It's a no phone camp. So, how our parents talk to us is via letter once a week, because that's how they talk to us. And then the UP All-Stars always come up the week before the big game, and then we have that this whole week, so that'll be... We usually listen to sports and stuff like that, so... So yeah, Baycliff is a 7-week camp, and they also have family camp afterwards, after all the campers leave. But I want to say to you guys that you can follow them at Instagram Baycliff Health Camp, and then Facebook Baycliff Health Camp, and then the counselors do hide and seek. Do hide and seek with now the campers have PTOT, speech if they really need it, and PTOT, speech, occupational, and then for activities we usually do geocaching, which is a nature activity, and then for recreation it just depends on the weather. And then we go swimming, and yes, we have beach days. It just depends on the day, but on how many beach days we have, because it all just depends on the day that there is time for it. But and then there's, and don't forget, we do I forgot this on the last podcast, but we do picnics, and those are a lot of fun to have. And especially when we have guests, we sing the welcome song, and then we also sing if there's birthdays. Don't forget, we do birthdays too. What we don't like is when they call breakfast, they do it normally, say it normally, and they call lunch, dinner, and they call dinner, supper. That's what we don't get on about that, is that we don't know why they call it that, they just do. And then we do clay for recreation, and it's a lot of fun to do clay, and we do clay for arts and crafts, not for recreation. It just depends what we do for recreation. And then for the 4th of July, they decorate the wheelchairs, and we march around on Big Bay and stuff like that. But I was a plane one year, I believe, and then I was like a boat one year, I think. Each unit gets assigned a category. I was a lighthouse. Yeah, I was a lighthouse, and then we each get assigned a counselor for that 7 weeks, and that 7 weeks are usually high school to college students just looking for a summer job and stuff like that. And then we have desserts. One way to tell about the desserts is to save your spoons. And then we do they do have a prom at camp, and it is for ages from 3 to 17. can go to Baycliff Health Camp. That's only if you can go until you're 17, and then you can also go back as a staff member if you want. You don't have to. I know a friend, her name is Bella Corp. She is going to go as a staff member this year at Baycliff and help them. But she is going as a staff member because she really liked it there. And when you first get there, it's always busy because you run around through the day. You go to the health cottage, which is like where you put your meds, and then you also go to the PT, OT, speech, and those are all in the same building. And then unit drop off. There's 5 units. There's Unit 1, Unit 2, Unit 3, and Unit 4, and Unit 5. Units 1 and 2 are considered the units 1, 2, units 2 and 3 usually sit together for dinner because they're all in the same unit. Units 1, 2, or 3, and then units 1, units 2, units 3, and units 4, and units 5 always do flagging morning. We do that, and then we eat breakfast. That brings me into the next topic. After breakfast, it just depends how our day goes, and if it's like really raining, they cancel it or whatever days. We wake up by 7 a.m. to raise the flag, and then we walk to the big house for flag, and then same thing with the prom units. The only unit that's not there for the full 7 before they get 2 batches of shady knockers. That's what they call the little kids. Before they get the second batch of the little kids, the reason why the little kids only go for half of the summer is because that way they can split it between the 2 and still have time. We have to hold hands during flag because you just have to, and in the morning we say the pledge, and then for nature we do geocaching. We also do swimming. Beach days, it just depends on what unit goes first and what unit doesn't go first. And we also do talent shows and have a teen talent show. They used to have teen jobs. They do now, but they used to have it so every teen could have a job depending on what is, and then there's time for relaxation. The office also has an auditorium inside of it, which is just the stage and a few cupboards. They also have merchandise. They also have merchandise which you can get at Bakecliff when you drop off their kids, and then they're also looking for new staff members. I was getting there, but they're also looking for new staff members as well. And then they do a big old Bakecliff birthday party for all the staff and all the campers, and we have a quiet dinner one night where there's quiet, and then on Fridays we usually have a pizza and movie night, and then for share and care, depends who you get signed with. That's one of the last activities that they do at camp, is that you get signed with a partner, and the share and care buddy has to go with you for the rest of the night, and you can plan some stuff or do some stuff. And I just want to address this and then there are girls that are in Unit 5 now, and Unit 1, so you can go between the two, but there are a place for your meds, and then they do a pool, but you take a shower right afterwards, and then there's a manners table. There's a manners table that each unit picks people to sit at the manners table, because if they should good manners with their napkins on their laps and all of that kind of stuff, then you would think that they showed a lot of manners. And at Bakecliff, there's places where you can complete your goals, like cutting your own food, stuff like that. And then there's other stuff like and then we usually get assigned with a group, like for our experiences, and then at the last day of camp, it's like the night of camp, and then they do hide and seek for the counselors with the therapy staff. They just put us with the therapy staff, and then they have us seek for the counselors. But there are some rules, like you can only go this far, because you can't go totally off campus, because the camp is not full of stuff. But so if you're looking for a summer job, or after college, if you're done with school or whatever, then Bay Cliff might be the fit for you. A lot of the campers really make a bond with one another, especially the ones that have brothers or sisters that go there as well. But I'm just thinking, because might as well help spread the word. But they pass out plates and bowls to the right all the time, because it goes all the way around. And then there's some units that have like where you have to go up to the we do a good morning show that has like the weather stuff like that stuff. So the morning show takes place, and then they did do virtual camp during COVID. I did not attend the online virtual camp, but they did it. I did not go last year because I didn't want to, but because I didn't feel safe. But I am going this year. They do have dental students that come for a week to check them out. If your kids have cavities, and then Share and Care is where you get some ice creams, and then I talked about the food during this. On Sundays, they do get the hop. The servers get a day off. But there's always dessert made on the tables, or if there isn't any dessert, little hint for anyone that goes to Bay Cliff: save your spoons means that you're gonna get some ice cream. Now, the spoon trick is when they say save your spoons, that means you're gonna get ice cream, and then whoever cleans up the most cabins will get to stay after and eat some ice cream. And then there's also some activities where we go down for the beach. The 4th of July is always the crazy time. They always have lemonade, and we do picnic, we do church for an hour, and then we wind down. But they do picnic, they do church. If you're not a real church person, or if you're willing to sit in the church, they do one in the auditorium and one in the end, but they also do picnics, which are every Sunday if the weather's nice, or they have an inside picnic. And then the hogs, like I mentioned at the beginning of this podcast, they usually come to camp, and then doesn't matter what the needs are, they let us sit on their motorcycles and have fun, because it's nice. And then there are PT students that will go and be a PT for a week or help with the PTs for a week. But and then there's PT students. We do have prom, like I said, and then we usually sleep somewhere. But that, and then we also have camping trips. The first activity is the campfire, and then we condone that. Laundry and linen is where we take our laundry to get washed, and so we help with that. We also have two sets of bathrooms, but we have to share one because the girls are in there now for units 5 that are in a wheelchair. But all the PT stuff takes place, and then they put your clothes that you come in a bag, and then they put your clothes in a bag, but then they have times at the end of 7 weeks. Those are the clothes you go home in, and the return dates, I'm not gonna release that in the podcast, but I have the return date, honestly, and then I also have where there's times that people go there, and we do clay and fun stuff. I made a crayon picture frame, and then we also did bingo one year. And then Unit 5 won the s'more competition. That's when I tried my first ever s'more. Then for back to the football people, football people, and yes, the football people they come and work with our needs and sign our books, give us a book, all the autographs and stuff like that. So, and each and every year is different. And then for some of the talent shows, we can be creative and have fun. And then there is some camping that is done out of the unit. And we do boat rides. Don't let me forget about those. We do boat rides. So those are also fun. Those are like a daily activity if we wanted do a boat ride, or if our cabin wants to do a boat ride. And then for each and every guest that comes to Baycliff Health Camp, we also give them a tour of the camp, and there we have the 4th of July fireworks that aren't on the 4th of July, but they're on that week, because then we're tired if they're not on the week. But I'm gonna go, and then there are some food that we actually like, and then there, what do we else do? And then we do gardening for nature, which I find very, I like to garden because I have my own garden, so I like it, and it's very fun. You can go from age 3 to 17. They have a camp for the adults that need help. At camp, and they also have a parents camp where they get to see what the kids were doing for a while, and then I really like doing this podcast. If you guys had any other podcast ideas for me, drop them down below, because I'm willing to answer them, and I will see you in the next podcast. You have watched Smiley Around the World podcast. You have seen the trailer. This was my first ever podcast. So the talent shows. What did we do for the talent shows? We also did Wheel of Fortune. And then we also did a couple other things too. And then we did Wheel of Fortune. And then don't forget, we also celebrate birthdays with the birthday song. And there's been a lot of people that go to Baycliff to make memories and make hard-earned memories for their friends. And there's a dinner called the Manners Dinner where we eat silently, we talk silently, we go inside silently, but there's always parts for that. Anyway, and then we do like they decorate the units for our birthdays too, so that's very fun to have for you guys' birthdays. And then for Share and Care, we go for ice cream and do whatever we want normally. But there's one rule for Share and Care. We can only go in the rec room. Where we spend most of our time. Yes, we do get downtime, but it is on the weekends. I covered a lot so far in this podcast, and there are times where we go to sleep and have fun, so yeah. So thank you guys for watching. And then for the morning show, we do more we do question of the day, where if we know the question of the day, we can answer it and it'll be announced by the end of the day. And then we do flag, and then we always have a nighttime activity depending on what the activity is. We do a board game where they put challenges for the board game, and then we kind of go clothes shopping at the beginning of the Bay Cliff because there's a lot of clothes to get, because why not? The camp is for 7 weeks, and you can only write your mom once a week, because then the mail will go. My mom always sends me 1 or 2 packages. You're allowed to send packages too. And then there's a lot of the staff we get along with, but there's some. We're all a big family, and we're all in this together at Bay Cliff. So I just want to share that in today's podcast episode. It isn't just about it isn't about, and we do have church, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that. I think I mentioned that briefly, that we do have church. That's on Sundays. We're always partnered up with the church buddy. The older kids, go to whatever one, and then we go to whatever one ourselves. That's usually an hour, but for the most part, that's all on Sundays. But for the most part, there are dental students. I did briefly mention that. We do welcome our guests, and they have a lot of fun there. So do we. So if you guys did enjoy this podcast, I know I talked a lot about it, and if you guys did enjoy it, I know I said did enjoy it a lot, leave a 5-star review. That does help out the podcast, and it's on Amazon, Google Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. I put it on those platforms. The only one it isn't on is Apple Podcasts. And then there are some times where and during the 7 weeks, so, and we all feel like family. And what's nice is I went in 2018, 2015, 2018, and then 2019, and then took off 2020. 20 is when COVID, I mentioned that they went on virtual that year, so they did go on virtual that year. So it's fun to know where they go and stuff like that. And I am gonna share this with all the other podcast people, but for right now, that's what's on my mind. I just want to say I'm going to Bay Cliff, and we do swimming and we do beach days. And then they do have a band that comes to perform. I think it's the Marquette Band. I didn't mention the band in the last one, but I know that they have a band that comes to perform. They either sing one song and let the campers conduct one thing. We have a thing called the Overlook where you can look over and units do flag, like units 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Even the PT staff do flag. So that's fun and very fun to watch. Very fun to watch the flag be risen. And if you guys want more podcasts like this one, let me know in the description box down below, and I will see you in the next podcast. Bay Cliff, it was nice talking to you. I'm done.